Hello, and welcome back to another episode of NeuroBridge. I'm your host, Tarush, and today we're going to be talking about the Gemini 3 Pro launch. Now, ChatGPT has traditionally been the face of consumer AI. Let's face it, of course, the Attention Was All You Need paper was actually written at Google Brain, and Google was the category creator of the large language model space. However, OpenAI and ChatGPT brought it into consumer in a way that no other significant lab had really done in a successful way at the time. And they scaled the most. They had the most daily active users. Of course, there are other model companies and excellent models out there. Anthropic's Claude, Mistral, obviously Google Gemini. The list goes on and on. But ChatGPT has always been the model that has been the namesake behind consumer AI. However, Google has recently launched Gemini 3 Pro. And not only is Gemini 3 Pro a fantastic model, outperforming all the others on benchmarks, it is also one of the first models to leverage Google's distribution channel. And that is critical. So let's break down everything you need to know about the Gemini 3 Pro drop, from the model's new and refined capabilities to how they've leveraged their distribution channel and social media presence to their advantage. So let's get into the model specifically. There have been major pre-training improvements in Gemini 3. There's deeper reasoning, better long context understanding, and stronger multimodal fusion throughout the model. In fact, it's used adjacent to it. Nano Banana was dropped, a new version of it, and some of the video creation in tandem with this new release is unprecedented. It's gotten to a point where you can't really tell if the video is AI or real. And we were already like that with Sora. But Nano Banana has taken it to the next level. When you put two of these videos, real and AI, side by side, or photographs for that matter, you can't tell. You would have to look at it for a while, and in many cases, it's genuinely indeterminate if the picture is real or not. So, anyway, we'll get more into Nano Banana later on in this video, but actually, Gemini also introduces Deep Think mode, which is a longer chain reasoning and better math and logic performance. Gemini 2.5 Pro Deep Think was already a fantastic model, but Gemini 3 Pro Deep Think is really like next level, which we'll see when we get to benchmarks. And as I kind of mentioned, there's been upgraded video, vision, document reasoning that's been attached to this model. And one of the best things that Google has done with their new flagship model is they've integrated. This is something that Google is uniquely positioned to do. There is no significant, huge company with a really high quality leadership topper model like Google. Yes, of course, Microsoft, kind of has Copilot, but the thing is, Copilot is, of course, we don't know. Copilot could technically be its own model, but we know from what's publicly available, we know they're very closely working with OpenAI and Anthropic. So in terms of completely built by themselves, their own model, plus the huge, wide, variety of consumer products, Google wins. Because they have the most uh, significant consumer products, right? They have Google Search. That's already a huge consumer product, and they have actually built their model from first principles. So the integrations that Google has done is great because it shows that they're finally thinking about the fact that they are a giant and they have to play to their strengths. So it's obviously integrated into the Gemini app, right? It's a Gemini model, but it's integrated into AI Studio, Vert.Ex AI, and Anti-Gravity, which is Google's agentic platform. So the fact that they're making rapid integrations of their models is so critical because it shows that Google is making the next bet on AI, and they're willing to integrate AI into their products in a way that enhances user experiences. So if this trend by Google continues to happen, where they're integrating their flagship models directly into more and more consumer apps right off the bat, that's going to be a really, really big driver for them. Because if you can change the user behavior, or if you can encourage user behavior to use Gemini through Docs, or use Gemini through, any of their most successful consumer applications, that's going to be fantastic. It's going to be really, really great for them because that's a guaranteed way for them to convert whatever users they have on their consumer side to the AI side. So let's talk now a little bit more specifically about what the performance of this model actually is, because we've talked about the fact that it's improved. We've talked about the fact that it's integrated, but how much better is this thing? Um, Much better. So on reasoning benchmarks, there was a huge jump. So it outperforms Gemini 2.5 Pro on every major benchmark, which is to be expected, right? You want to see incremental progress. LM Arena is another benchmark, and it pretty critical benchmark. All of OpenAI, like all of the top models, are benchmarked there. It has an ELO of 1501, which is the highest leaderboard score ever. HLE, humanity's last exam. That sounds ominous. It sounds ominous, but it's a benchmark where we have very hard, hyper-specific subject matter questions, like asking about how many wings a hyper-specific type of butterfly has. That you know, it's not likely that most humans can answer these questions. It got a 37.5%, which is not doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a new state of the art performance in a no tool setting. Math Arena Apex, 23.4%. A huge leap in complex math. MMMU Pro is 81%. And, MMMU is 87.6%. Enormous improvement in multimodal reasoning. And Simple QA Verified, 72.1%, incredibly high factual accuracy. The trust score jumped from 16% approximately to 69% in blinded user evaluation. So I threw a lot of numbers, and obviously there are a lot of numbers appearing on the screen. But what does this all mean? HLE is just stress testing the reasoning. It's looking at general intelligence. Math Arena Apex is looking at math capable versus math pretender. That's their whole idea. It's the hardest math benchmark out there. MMMU Pro and MMMU, it determines real multimodal comprehension. LM Arena is a cross-task, cross-domain, all-rounder strength. Like, you need to be good at everything to do well at LM Arena Elo. And Simple QA Verified is just checking the facts, right? To what extent do you have capacity over the facts? These benchmark performances are unreal. If you look at some of the gaps on some of the benchmarks, you don't even need to know what the benchmark does. It helps, right? You can search up each and every one of these benchmarks. Look at the gaps. Look at the gaps between Gemini 3 Pro and any other model. I mean, this thing is fantastic. This is a really deeply engineered, highly capable model. And it's a big step towards what we call AGI and ASI. Now, I wouldn't say we're there yet. Again, it very much depends on how you define it, but the industry convention seems to be that it is better than all humans. We're not close to there yet, but we are making progress at a very fast rate. And it's just like I have not seen a model which has pushed the boundaries to this extent in the past couple years. The sheer amount of jumps that Google has made with Gemini 3 Pro is unreal. It far surpasses any other model incrementation since the original ChatGPT came out, in my opinion. Of course, that's a personal opinion. But if you look at some of these examples of Gemini 3 plus Nano Banana Pro, because that's the simplest example, you don't need to have any understanding of any technical benchmarks or any STEM or anything to be able to understand the capability of this model if you look at the performance of Nano Banana Pro. So the multimodality on this model is fantastic, right? It seems to me that you can generate anything with the multimodality on this thing. You can create high quality diagrams, high fidelity diagrams, infographics, UI mockups, product concepts, driven by reasoning, right? You have a reasoning model sitting there and helping to orchestrate a multimodal agent. So it's just Gemini 3 is just a fantastic model. To summarize, if you don't take anything else away from this video, right? If you forget about all the MMMU Pro, all the HLE, if you forget all the numbers, if you forget about the fact that they're integrated with Vert.Ex AI and they're pushing on integrations, if you want to forget all of that, that's fine. If there's one thing you want to take away from this video, it's that Google Gemini 3 is unprecedented. And the rate at which AI models are advancing has just seen, in my opinion, a sea change. with how fast Gemini 3 has been able to reposition itself, outperform so many countless other models on benchmarks. The rate at which they've done that is going to induce another sprint on all of the model company sides, not just Google DeepMind, on OpenAI, on Anthropic, on Meta Superintelligence Labs, on all of these labs to push as hard as they can to produce high fidelity models. So I personally think that the fact that the AI industry, in my opinion, the model performance was starting to plateau. Of course, there was Kimi K2 thinking, but the model performance was not seeing huge jumps on benchmarks. Post Gemini 3, who knows what's going to happen. So if you take one thing away from this video, it's that. Thank you so much for watching this episode of NeuroBridge. I'm going to place more information in the description of this video if you're interested in reading up more on some of the things I discussed here and looking at some of the specific benchmarks, because it's very interesting to stay updated on, how these models are doing. And I'm going to see you in the next one. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what what I should be covering, if there's anything I missed. And thank you so much. See you in the next one.